Everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news as we preview Manchester United against Crystal Palace. We'll also be talking about a statement from Manchester United about Mason Greenwood, a statement from Mason Greenwood about Mason Greenwood. We'll also be talking about the return of Diego Dalot, what Ten Hag has said about Victor Lindelof in the CDM position, and obviously getting into your questions as per usual. But before we get into all of that, as you can see, I'm actually like, this is a debut for this top. It's I got it from Boohoo Man, very nice. It's shiny and keeping me nice and warm as well. As I feel quite trendy tonight. Maybe I don't look trendy, but I feel quite trendy. The show is sponsored by Boohoo Man, not Smoohoo Man. Boohoo Man. Link is in the video description. Boohoo Man is all about looking good and feeling great, and as we start the new year, then there's no better time to get yourself some brand new winter or active wear. And because Boohoo Man is sponsoring the show, it means it's time for some United-related trivia. And I want to see how many of you can get this right this week, because it's a good one. As you can see, if you can guess which United player Boohoo Man are talking about from the below clues. So here we go. I joined Manchester United out of the blue on a pay-as-you-play contract. Don't worry, they weren't a blue. I thought that was a clue when I read it first, but it's not. I played for one of Manchester United's biggest rivals. It's nothing to do with blue. I played just 31 times for the club, scoring 5 goals. And I once scored a 96th minute winner against Man City to win 4-3. You should get it now. I was somewhat controversially given the famous number 7 shirt. Who am I? Now, come on, chat. Come on, chat. I believe you've got to get this one. You've got to get it. It's not particularly hard. Michael Owen, yes. I'm going to give that to Jay Walsh. There may have been others before, but it was, of course, Michael Owen. It was controversial at the time. As always, Boohoo Man have given United Stand viewers a discount for this video by scanning the QR code next to me or going through the link in the description and using the code Goldbridge. You can get your discount at Boohoo Man, excluding certain sale items. Thank you very much to Boohoo Man for supporting today's show. And now we can move on with the stream. And I just want to say as well, I'm bloody loving it. I'm bloody loving this top. It's brilliant. It doesn't do justice to the bottom red bit and the top black bit. It's very nice and waterproof as well, which is always a bonus if it's raining. Right, let's get on with the show. Welcome to the Members Club, David. And Elliot says, honestly, I'd love seeing Sancho back in the squad doing flicks and stuff. Seem to have really missed playing football and we have to bring it on, says Elliot. Well, will Sabitzer start? Will Jadon Sancho start? And Elliot says Mason Greenwood there. Will Jadon Sancho start? Will Sabitzer start against Crystal Palace? We'll get into that. I'll tell you what, I normally do this on the members section. I normally deep dive a player, and I will deep dive Sabitzer and put up an exclusive video on the members section. But as a little bit of a treat tonight, because I'm so excited about Sabitzer, and I think people are sleeping on his defensive work, I put a tweet out this afternoon, some of you might have seen it. We'll delve a little bit deeper into that, because if he can bring this to the Premier League from the Bundesliga, I think people think he's like Bruno. He's not. He's bloody good defensively as well. So we'll talk about that. His injury record's fine, Mario G. There's nothing wrong with Sabitzer's injury record. Trust me. There's nothing wrong with Sabitzer's injury record. I mean, that doesn't mean he won't get injured, but there's certainly nothing wrong with it. So there we go. That's my predicted lineup for the team. I have put Sabitzer in it. But before we get into all that, I'm very aware today that there's a lot of stuff going on about Mason Greenwood. I'd just like to thank the people who clipped up my 1 minute from the end of our video that we did this afternoon, which has been perceived that I want Mason Greenwood back playing for Manchester United. I quite clearly said I haven't made my mind up. I quite clearly said it's a horrible situation. But thank you for the people who clip up these things and make and put out insensitive stuff out there, making out that I wanted that to happen. Great, isn't it? Modern society's fucking fantastic. As I said before, the narcissistic way that some people with big accounts have, expressed their opinion on this just makes me want to throw up. Really, it is certainly something that people can have an opinion on, and I respect that. But you can't inflict your opinion on other people, and some people have very different views on this. What Manchester United have said, and you may have missed this, Manchester United have released a statement, and they basically said Mason Greenwood will not train or play with Manchester United until the club have completed an internal investigation into how allegations against the player end up being made. This is interesting. Look, I know how investigations work, and I could give you the inside track all the way through this on how it works from report, police investigation to Crown prosecution service to where we are now. If I'm absolutely honest, I know what's happened here. I know exactly what has happened, and I don't feel it's my place to comment on it. I really don't. I know people would like me to, and maybe privately I will, but it's bloody obvious what's happened here, and a lot of people have messaged me to say what's happened here. And if I was to say it, I just don't think it's responsible to say that. And you know, you can draw your own conclusions from that. I'm not going to say either way. I just don't think it's, you know, I know some people think it's great to express their opinion, but we do have an audience, we do have a platform, and I think there's a responsibility there to people, you know. And also, I don't want to end up in court myself because it can't be proved. But I think we all know pretty much, you know, the story behind this. But away from that, I'm intrigued as to what Manchester United's internal investigation will be. Because I don't know how a club investigates things, and I don't know how contract law works. I know how the law works, but I don't know how contract law works. And what are Manchester United going to investigate as to how the allegations were taking place? Are they going to start interviewing the victim in the case? I mean, they've got no power to do that. So I don't know what an internal investigation for Manchester United entails. I would imagine it entails very expensive lawyers analysing it and see if there's any breach of contract there and all sorts of stuff like that. How long this will take, I don't know. But it's, you know, it'll be... I don't know what Manchester United would have wanted out of this. Nobody does. But they are in a position now where they're having to investigate it themselves to make sure, as we said this afternoon, sponsors, etc., players. I mean, I'm not going to speculate on that either. There are people putting stuff out there that certain players are not happy about it. I've not heard anything about that, and I think that's, you know, it's like Prats who said that the relationship between Ten Hag and Sancho was over, and it isn't. So, you know, you can't believe those sort of things. But look, people can decide to do what they want. Some people want to publicly express their opinions. I will concede this. And look, this is the only thing I will concede. If Mason Greenwood was playing for Manchester United against Crystal Palace and he scored, I wouldn't celebrate. The way I feel at the moment, I'm conflicted. I feel numb about it. It just doesn't feel right. But on the other hand, I do believe in second chances. I do believe in, you know, innocent until proven guilty. But, you know, this is very complex. This is why I said this afternoon, for me, it's about, I respect what people want, decisions people want to make. And if they want to make decisions, that's absolutely fine. I've had people messaging me today who I respect, who've said both things. I won't support this club if they keep him. I think he will stay, and I'll have to support it. You know, I've had both sides from people I really respect. So if you've made the decision, that's fine. But I wouldn't like to be in, you know, there's many situations I'd like to be in as Manchester United. I'd like to be director of football. I'd like to CEO. I'd fancy a pop at it. I wouldn't fancy this. I really wouldn't. This is a bloody nightmare. But we've also had a statement from Mason Greenwood. There is another party in this, of course. He says, "I'm relieved that this matter is now over, and I would like to thank my family, loved ones and friends for their support. There will be no further comment at this time." And I think, as Man United fans, I want to talk about the Crystal Palace game, because I think that's the most relevant thing that we can do here. Kieran, welcome to the Members Club. It's the most relevant thing we can do, because United are now going to conduct an investigation. Mason Greenwood's not going to make any comment. And we've got games to play and a club to sell. So I think it's a big topic, but I think we're just going to have to see what happens. And as I said this afternoon, I think time and reflection for everybody may well find a solution. But let's not dampen down the severity of this. There are people out there who just cannot move past this at the moment, and there are some people that wants to move past it. I would just implore people to be sensitive to other people's opinions on this, because is it worth falling out over? Some people think it is. I'm really intrigued to see how Sabitzer and Casemiro will work in the Eric Ten Hag system. I agree with you, Goldbridge. Sabitzer is being slept on, not literally, says Jack. And does an internal investigation mean the club will wait and see public sentiment over this and decide whether or not to bring him back, says Stephen. I mean, I want to move on. I want to talk about the Crystal Palace game, and maybe we can come back to that. But let's just put it this way. There are varying fans of varying ages and varying stances on this. And there are some people who feel very, very strongly about Mason Greenwood not playing for Man United. Obviously, there are other people who feel the other way around as well. And we must be fair about that. But, you know, I think we spoke about it in depth this afternoon. How the club deal with this will be very, very interesting. And there are probably people like myself who are just actually going to take their time on this and think about it, because I think, there is a natural... I'm not going to lie. There's a natural inclination in me to say what I really, 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 really feel. But I don't know whether I'm going to feel like that when Man United have made their decision. So, and it's not my decision to make. So, and I certainly don't want to, I get accused of having influence on making people dislike our centre-backs and stuff like that, which is complete bollocks. But if there is any hint of that, I don't want to be influencing people, because I really want people to make their own mind up, because I think it's something where you have to have an opinion. And as I said, I think for the last year, it was dangerous to have an opinion. But now we're in the court of public opinion. And whether you like that or not, Gary Neville got a load of shit this afternoon. Whether you like that or not, it's now for the public to decide. You can make your opinion on it. And, expect a bit of backlash, expect a bit of people supporting you. But, but, there's so many layers to this. And, as I said, a lot of people have spoken about the things that came out publicly a year ago. They relate it to their own relationships, their own family members, and why wouldn't they? So it's a very, very sensitive subject. I can't tell people what to think. You can't tell people what to think. But whatever you think, even if you strongly think one way or the other, please be sensitive to the fact that some people find this, a very, very difficult topic. I'm going to match on Saturday. Really looking forward to it. Really do hope Sabitzer starts, says Jared. Well, let's talk about the Crystal Palace game. I want to hit a positive here, because I think we've had another day as United fans where, we've had to go through another emotional confliction. And this season's been all about that, hasn't it? I mean, Ten Hag's done so well. We've had the Jadon Sancho thing. We had the Ronaldo thing, the Piers Morgan interview. Now we've got this Greenwood thing. They're all very different, but they're all very emotive. And probably none more than the one that's happened today. But we have been through the ringer a little bit as fans this season. And I feel sympathetic towards United fans, because we just want to focus on what Ten Hag's doing. And we keep getting drawn into things that are just not about Manchester United playing well on the pitch. But that's the way it is. Hopefully things will settle down at some point and we can just focus on this. But what we can focus on is, should Sabitzer be starting against Crystal Palace, and what his involvement will be. Now look, I've taken this from Y-Scout, very, very good for stats. I've looked at the last calendar year, and this is really interesting about Sabitzer. I'm not going to dive into this too deep, because I'll do this on a members club video for those who are interested, and it'll be on the private section of that. But I will give you a little bit of insight here. So, successful defensive actions per 90. I've got 6 players: De Bruyne, Ward-Prowse, Gundogan, Eriksen, Odegaard and Sabitzer. It's just a sample. There's no reason I picked those 6. Obviously Eriksen, because it's Sabitzer who's going to take his place. Gundogan's a number 8. Ward-Prowse is pretty much a number 8. And De Bruyne and Odegaard are attacking midfielders. So, and some people think that that's Sabitzer's best position. So, successful defensive actions per 90. Sabitzer's number 1. He averages 8.5 per 90. Second place is Ward-Prowse with 7.3. Obviously he plays for Southampton, so probably does a lot of defensive work. And then you've got Gundogan and Eriksen, who are around 5. 8.5 successful defensive actions per 90 for Sabitzer. I mean, if he's an attacking midfielder, De Bruyne does that 3.7 times per 90. Defensive duels won percentage, 60%, which is more than any of those players I mentioned. Second place would be Gundogan with 57%. Aerial duels won. He wins more than any of those players as well. 2.5 per 90. The closest player to him would be Ward-Prowse at 2.3. De Bruyne's 1.3. Eriksen's less than 1. So, look, there are loads of things we can look at, and maybe a little bit later we could have a look at his passing and everything like that. But the thing I wanted to draw your attention to is that when I said a couple of years ago that Sabitzer could play CDM and people ridiculed me, I based it upon the fact that I've actually watched him play. And defensively, I think people think Sabitzer's about shooting and attacking and this, that and the other and carrying the ball, which he can do. But if you haven't watched him, you're sleeping on something. You're sleeping on his defensive capabilities. Yes, he's very good in the press, but he's also very good at tackling, and he's not too bad in the air. And there are things that, I think United fans almost feel excited for you as to what you're going to see. Because I think some people just think they're going to see a bit of a Bruno Eriksen attacking midfielder, which he can do. But he's very, 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 almost Fred-like in a sense that he likes to tackle, he likes to get involved. And of course, he's then got the attacking traits as well. This has all been done in the Bundesliga, but it has been done in the Champions League. Transferring to the Premier League is very, very different. But if he can be anywhere near what he's been in the Bundesliga, he's going to be a very exciting player. Jack says Sabitzer leading those defensive action stats is remarkable, especially when you consider Bayern average 66% possession. Jack, he's an athlete. He's a pressing monster. He likes the tackle. He likes the aggression. The thing is, I'm so sad about what's happened to Eriksen, but I have been talking about it with you for a few months now, that when we go away to Arsenal or Anfield or Everton or anywhere where there's going to be a bit of a scrap, I do worry about Eriksen next to Casemiro because Eriksen doesn't like to tackle. It's not his side of the game. In those sort of games, if Sabitzer transforms what he has been from Bayern and in the Bundesliga to here, he will be a better option than Eriksen if he can do it, because he is very, very, very good defensively as well. So I'm very excited about that, and that's something that I wanted to bring into the game. Now, would I start him against Crystal Palace? We're about to start a really, really difficult run of games here. Dawel says, you're a legend. You were made for these kind of shows. I really admire the way you present your stance. Keep it up. And in Erik Ten Hag we trust. Dawel, thank you for the lovely message. And also we've had Sean Turner. Pound Note says it's all really on a Brighton. It says it all really. On a Pound Note says it all really. Yeah, on a pound. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I can't comment on it, but I know what you mean. On a brighter note, really looking forward to Saturday. Think Fred will start and Sabitzer will come on as a sub, says Sean. And off topic, Mark, but if United got sold to Sir Jim or someone, couldn't he get his CEO and board of director from Nice? Very excited to see Sabitzer, says Sihan. Well, yeah, look, I think that Sabitzer probably won't start. I think he probably will start Fred. We're starting to know what Ten Hag's all about, and he probably won't start him. But the reason I put him in there is I would, and also Anthony went straight into the team. Eriksen went straight into the team. Casemiro didn't, but Martinez did. He has got a history of... no one expected Anthony to start, and he started him against Arsenal. So I think there is a chance he could start. I don't think it's unrealistic. He could start in this game, and I would start him in this game. The reason I'd start him in this game is because we have got a ridiculous run of fixtures coming up, and all of them are potentially difficult. Like Crystal Palace could take 2 points off us. I don't think they can beat us at Old Trafford, but they've got a good record on the road. They always cause Man City problems. They could cause us a problem. Leeds home and away, back to back, that's difficult. Then we've got Barcelona. Then we've got Leicester, then we've got Barcelona, and then we've got the Carabao Cup final. With all due respect to Reading and Nottingham Forest last night, we were 3-0 up last night, and Reading are a championship side. I thought that they were going through the motion games where you've just got to concentrate and you will win. These next few games, they're not really leeway games. They're not really games you can take lightly. If you take them lightly, you won't win. So I think we've got to be clever. Now, Crystal Palace haven't played in a week. Crystal Palace played a week ago on Saturday. They have a week's rest. Their last game was Saturday. So they'll be fresh. All right, they're going to be missing Zaha. I think Anderson's still out, but they will be fresh. They will be energetic. And I just think look, I'd pick Sabitzer because I think the sooner we get him integrated, the better. And my concern is, if you don't start Sabitzer in this game and you gradually bring him in, when will he start? Fred will always do a good job. So is Sabitzer going to be the backup, or are we just going to get him in the team? I think get him in the team. And I also think that you've got to freshen things up as well. The team will naturally get quite tired quite quickly because we're playing a lot of games. The crowd will be up for it if they see Sabitzer in the team. And Crystal Palace, it's an unknown as well. And Sabitzer's going to be 100 miles an hour in this game as well. So I would start him. I don't know whether he will start him, but I would. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Mark, I've just started a Southampton career on my channel. Could you give me a shout out and any suggestions for a signing? It's the first season, says it's Jake. Depends what your budget is, Jake. I mean, let us know. We'll definitely come back to that. Scott Harrop, welcome to the members club. You need a striker, really, don't you? You do need a striker. Get a free agent, Cavani or something like that. Cavani would be good, actually. I don't know whether he'd be a free agent in FIFA. And apart from that, I think the team picks itself. De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez, Luke Shaw, Casemiro, obviously Sabitzer, Bruno, Anthony, Martial, Rashford. Now, look, Weghorst has done a good job for us, but Martial's fit. He played really, really well when he came on last night. And I think, look at the quick turnaround as well. I'm doing a Crystal Palace preview because we're playing in a day and a half. We're playing on Saturday afternoon. We only played last night. And Wednesday night, Saturday afternoon, it just shows you, doesn't it? It's so quick turnaround. Mark says rest Bruno. Oh yeah, let's give up 3 points, mate. I mean, you know, maybe you could throw Sancho in, but personally, I would start Martial. You never know when he's going to be injured again, and while he's fit, we may as well use him. So I think Martial coming into the team is really, really important. Now, really interested to see who starts up top. I thought Weghorst was 7 out of 10 last time versus Palace, but will Erik ten Hag be lenient with Martial's minutes, says Jack. Well, that's why I'd start Martial, because I think we're a better team with Martial in the team, but there's no way he's going to play 90 minutes. So realistically, start Martial, get yourself ahead, and then bring Weghorst in, who you know is going to do a good job for you in the last half an hour. That's the way I would do it. I think you're absolutely spot on. Mark, you tweeted yesterday about Bruno win percentage as captain. In other words, does that also mean that is United's win percentage when Maguire doesn't start? It says the win percentage without Maguire is very good, Marish. But that's because Varane and Martinez are better. Hi, Mark. I've been following since 5k subs. I remember the Skype call-in shows and Discord days. How far the channel has come. Keep up the great work, says Billy. Thank you very much, Billy. When is Delo returning? I fear Aaron Wan-Bissaka starts to decline when overplayed, says Mister. And Mark, if you think Iron Man's superpower is making cutlery, I would love to hear what you think Ant-Man's superpower is. Love the content, mate. You've been watching That's Football, haven't you, Justin? I tell you what, That's Football's doing really well at the moment. I really, really am enjoying it. It's so thank you very much for watching. Just to go back on that point, I was going to talk about it anyway. Delo is back in training. That came out today. Delo back in training for Manchester United. So obviously, apart from long-term injuries to Eriksen and Donny, and obviously McTominay's got a bit of an injury at the moment, but Delo being back is great because, you know, we had this debate this morning about who should start, and I think Delo is better than Wan-Bissaka. But ultimately, even if they were both fit, I'd be more than happy in this scenario to start Delo tomorrow, play Wan-Bissaka against Leeds at home, and then bring Delo back in for the away tie. I don't mind a bit of rotation at right back. I think Wan-Bissaka has shown that he can do that and that the team doesn't suffer for it. So look, if Delo's back, it's great, because what's happening to Wan-Bissaka now is what happened to Delo at the start of the season. He's playing every single game because there's no right back. And now Wan-Bissaka's having to do that. So Delo coming back is good. So Sabitzer quality is Mark. Sabitzer is quality, Mark, an all-round box-to-box player full of energy. Cheers. We'll have a little bit more look at Sabitzer's stats in a minute because I enjoyed that. So we'll go back to that in a minute. Hi, Mark. Can you add the red to United stand, please? I don't know who that is. Booktooth. I don't know who it is. So if they want to get in contact, That's Football. What is it? I can't remember the email address. That's footballmedia@gmail.com. I'm really excited to see Sabitzer. I really, really am. But look, let me just have a little chat to you about Crystal Palace. This is how little Crystal Palace have played. We played them, didn't we? They've only played one more game after that. So how many games have we played since we played Crystal Palace? I think we've played... I don't know how many games we've played since Crystal Palace. Played Arsenal away. Forest, Reading, Forest. So we've played 4 games since we last played Crystal Palace. They played 1. They drew with us. And then they drew with us, and then they drew with Newcastle. That's it. They've only had 2 games. Syed Ali, thank you very much for the super chat there. Unrelated, Mark, but did you hear that Varane has retired from international football? Yeah, I did. I was going to talk about it in a little bit, Aman, actually. Crystal Palace's problem since the World Cup has been scoring goals. I think they've scored 2 in 6 Premier League games. So something ridiculous like that. I did know 3 in 6 Premier League games. So they're averaging half a goal a game at the moment in the Premier League. They don't concede that many, but they don't score that many. Obviously, they got a late equaliser with that free kick against us, which was, we should have won that game really. And then they got a 0-0 with Newcastle. So they're not really a goal threat traditionally in the last few games, but they are a well-organised team. We should be winning this game, is what I'm trying to say, and I do expect us to win it, because I think that whilst they got a point out of us at Selhurst Park, I felt we were the better team. I just don't think we created enough in the second half. We fell off in the second half. At Old Trafford, I would not expect that to happen. So I think we'll win it, and I think we'll win it probably 2-0. And really, when you look at our next few games, there's no reason why we shouldn't beat Palace, Leeds, Leicester. We've got 4 Premier League games this month, and we could win all 4. And I think if you do that, there are teams around us that will drop points. So that will solidify our top 4 space. But the thing about United at the moment is we're playing so well, we almost feel like you can't see where a loss is coming from anyway. I think people are most worried about the Barcelona games and the Newcastle game because they're the best opposition we've got. But will we win 4 Premier League games in a row against Palace, Leeds twice, and Leicester? Well, I think we can do, because I can't really see where we drop points. But maybe we've got to be aware of that, and I think that's something that Ten Hag is always aware of, and digs down on that. You've got to just take every game as it comes. Sayed Ali, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. Delo won't be back in the team tomorrow, I don't think, for Palace. I think he's only just started training, so I don't think he'll be back in the team. And he might make the bench, but I don't think he will. I don't think that would happen. And also, Wan-Bissaka played so well against Palace at Selhurst Park. This can happen a lot. When you play your old club, you can get a really good performance out of somebody. So, I'd certainly start Wan-Bissaka in this game. Do you think we'll see any long-term position changes under Ten Hag? We've seen Shaw at centre-back, but could we see Sancho at number 10? Even see Lindelof in midfield? Kieran, it's like you're reading my mind. Well, we're like, people tonight, they almost know what we're going to talk about. So Ten Hag was speaking about Victor Lindelof as a CDM, and there's been a lot of buzz around Sancho coming on as a number 10 yesterday, but actually, I think we're sleeping on the most important thing, was Lindelof playing as a CDM. Now, I do a FIFA career mode, which some people might watch, some people might not like. It's up to them. But the funny thing is, when Lindelof came on as a 6 last night as a CDM, I didn't think that was the first time we'd seen Ten Hag do it. But then people were messaging me saying, well, you were doing it on your FIFA career mode, that's why you don't think it's the first time. I still think he's done it before, but maybe I'm wrong. But look, what he said about Lindelof was that Lindelof was educated as a 6 at Benfica, I think. So he can play that role. And you know what? A lot of people spoke about Martinez doing that role, but Lindelof in that role might be quite interesting. And, I don't know what's going to happen with the position changes, because we've seen Luke Shaw do it. We've seen Lindelof do it. We saw Sancho do it a little bit. But I think the Lindelof one's quite interesting because, Harry Maguire's never going to play at CDM. He's never going to play at right back. But Victor Lindelof can play at right back. He's a good centre-back. And if he can play CDM, maybe Victor Lindelof isn't heading off anywhere in the summer. A bit unrelated, if we bought Sabitzer instead of loan, what would you think would be an acceptable fee for him, says Jack? Sabitzer's probably about 30-40 million. Do you think we will see any... I've done that one from Kieran. We've done that from Jack. Tim says, whoever starts, at least we have some options from the bench now, and we can bring those players on and up the tempo, says Tim. Yeah, I think with the players coming back from injury, Sancho coming back, Sabitzer coming in, the bench will start to look good again. Mark, with the volume of games we've played and with the World Cup, I'm expecting more injuries to happen come April or May, says Matthew. I think, Matthew, I agree. It's something you try and not think about because, we've lost Eriksen, we've lost Bruno long term. We are going to lose other players, but you just don't want to think about it because there's actually no play, from that first team you want to lose. Jack, I'm not going to read your statement. I think it's insensitive. Sorry. I'm not really interested in all the chanting about Mason Greenwood, to be honest. I'm very aware of what the chat is, and I know that some people want him back, and I know that some people don't. So, excuse me if I'm not going to read something out that's just going to upset and antagonise some people. I'm not taking sides on it. I just don't want to get into it. And I don't know why you think it's a good idea when I've already said, can we please respect the fact that people have different opinions, and some people are going to get very sensitive about those different opinions. I mentioned Sancho as a 10 the other day, maybe trained in the Netherlands, says Desmond. Look, see what happens with Sancho. I'm not afraid to have my opinion on it. I've already told you what my opinion on it is. When he lost his place in the team, it was because he wasn't tracking back. As a number 10, you've got to track back. Now, in certain games, like Forest last night, if you're dominating the possession and you're playing high up the pitch, then Jadon Sancho as a number 10 is perfect. But if you're playing away at Spurs or someone like that and you've got to do a lot of defending, I don't think Jadon Sancho works as a number 10 at all. So I think it's different tools for different games, isn't it? I think we will see him playing as a 10, but I don't think he's going to bench Bruno Fernandes as a 10. I can't see us going to Anfield with Sancho as a 10. I think you need to show that he can do the defensive work, which we haven't seen yet. So I would still hold judgment on that. But I think the Lindelof thing at CDM is quite interesting. Decision on Mason depends on the team and the manager. We go with what the manager says. Looking forward to the Barcelona run, says Kanishka. Well, no, that's not how it's going to work, Kanishka. I'm sorry. If Erik ten Hag comes out and says, I want Mason Greenwood in this team, it's not going to make certain fans go, I can't deal with what the allegations were. I'm not comfortable with it. That's not how life works. That's not going to happen. And that's what the club needs to take on board. This is not a thing where fans will just trust the manager on it, because it's not about football. It's about things that people feel very strongly about both ways. And I think that's where people are going wrong. If you're looking at it on a purely footballing decision, then, there may be a reason to back the manager, but that's not what this is about. I can't make it any plainer that you can't make a statement and everyone go, oh yeah, that solved the problem for me. This is dividing people in a very, very, very sensitive way. And you can have your opinion and do have it, but don't expect to put a statement out that's going to make everyone go, oh, actually, you know what? I'm comfortable with it now. That's not going to happen. You don't have to, but I would implore that you do respect other people's opinion on this and just, have your opinion, hold your opinion, and wait and see what happens. Do you see we're playing Casemiro, Bruno, and Sancho in our midfield? Says Joa. No. Only if we're at home to some shit side. I don't see it happening. The defensive rates, the defensive cover's not there, is it? Possibly part of the training was more tracking back work ethic. Erik ten Hag did say he wasn't happy about it before he left, says Desmond. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very, very obvious that Jadon Sancho didn't go out of the team for 3 months to learn to be a number 10. He went out of the team for 3 months because he had issues beyond football. But I do think that the time he spent in the Netherlands, which, if I'm correct, was from pretty much November to start of January, I pretty much think there would have been a lot of conditioning and physical work going in there. HH says, do you think it was settled out of court, Mark? Well, you've put me right on the spot there. No comment. Because I can't comment. I don't know. I can't. That's a really difficult question for me to answer, because obviously people know that there are a lot of things going around being said, but I don't definitively know either way. So I like your hoodie, Mark, says Lewis Jackson. It's Boohoo Man. Links in the description. Get yourself. It's really nice. I really like it. Actually, I've only got a t-shirt on underneath, and I've been a bit chilly today, and I put this on it. It's really nicely insulated. So I'm really very happy with it. Very, 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 very happy with it. Miles, don't worry. I'm not stupid enough to answer a question like that as well. I don't want to get sued. Pogba needs a tackler like Casemiro next to him. Chadley, do you know Paul Pogba doesn't play for Man United anymore? I don't want to ruin your evening, but Slow Sports News, Chadley. Paul Pogba to Juventus in the summer of 2022. Yellow tie, crunching up cornflakes, Audi driver. No, Chadley's going, no! I thought he was just recovering from injury. No, he's gone. He's gone, mate. He doesn't play. He doesn't play much at all, says Mozan, to be honest. But no, look, bringing it back to the football, we've got a few minutes to chat about whatever you want to talk about. But I think Palace have had 2 weeks off, apparently. Is that right? Palace have had 2 weeks off, not a week. Wow. I feel like Ben Foster. Wow. I think they've had 2 weeks off. Let me just check. So, they must have had 2 weeks off, because they've only played one game since they played us, and we've played 4. So, they played on the 21st of Saturday. So, they played us on the 18th of Jan, 1-1. They then played Newcastle at home, 0-0, on Saturday the 21st of Jan. And, the 4th of Feb. So, they've had 2 weeks off. They've had 2 weeks off, Palace. But Ross is right. That might not be a good thing. They could be rusty. That might play into our hands. I think a week off's good, because you've still got the match process in your head, and you've had a bit of a rest. 2 weeks off could be, because of course they weren't in the FA Cup. So, I think it's, like Lee says, we've got a bit of momentum. I think we'll beat Palace. I do think we'll beat Palace. As I keep saying, I think the only enemy we have is fatigue. And at the moment, we're not in a bad position. You look at the games that we've had in January, and you look at the players that we've lost, Donny and Ericsson. But with Sancho and Sabitzer coming back, and Delot now coming back, and Martial coming back, despite playing all these games, we're actually in a stronger position now, because we've got people coming back. So I think we are going to get exhausted in the next few weeks. The question is when it will hit. I don't think it'll hit us tomorrow. Leeds, we should be all right. Leeds away could be tough, and then Barcelona. I think Leeds away, Barcelona is probably where I'll start to get a little bit worried. But I think for the next couple of games we should all right. I have a budget for a 15 million for box-to-box players, as it's Jake. I think he's playing FIFA. If anyone's got any advice for him, feel free. Hopefully this news motivates Anthony to work harder, says Phil II. Don't get me started on Anthony. What's your score prediction, Mark, says Jelena. I've already done it, 2-0. I'm going to go with 2-0. Please do smash a like on the video, by the way, and make sure you subscribe. Can I just say as well, it is Thursday night. The weekend's coming. Thursday night, Friday just sort of gets me in that whole I can't wait to do our tour thing. So we have still got some tickets in Manchester and in London. We've obviously sold Dublin out. Legends. If you want to get yourself your tickets and you're getting that end of week vibe, get them while you can. I've left the link in the live chat. Really looking forward to it. I've actually messed up with the Dublin one because I've got a few friends who want to come and they've said I want to come to the Dublin one, and I've gone, I didn't reserve any tickets back, so you can't come to Dublin. That's breaking news. I've told you now. I've got them in at Manchester and London. But yeah, you can still get yourself some tickets, and really looking forward to seeing you. I was thinking today that Cavani under Ten Hag would have been amazing. At least the Cavani we got in the first... Well, a fit Cavani, Mella, would be very good under Ten Hag. You're absolutely correct. A few people have said that over the last few months. Marcus said... Marcus is just talking about Greenwood. He says loan or sale's the best option. I love the footballer. It's a shame. Innocent till proven guilty. But the club's reputation is at stake. Yeah. I can't speculate on what's going to happen, but I think the club are fully aware. You know what it is, actually? I'm not afraid to say this because it's the court of public opinion. You know what the problem is here? The problem is that audio clip. I've seen people sharing it again today, and I was like, I'm not comfortable with that. But then somebody said to me privately, what are you not comfortable about? It got shared publicly in the first place, and that's why he ended up getting arrested. The case is over now. It's not evidence. The clip can be played, surely. Well, I don't know the legalities of that, but that's the problem. Everybody I've spoken to today, and everyone's messaged me, they're like, I can't, innocent till proven guilty is fine. That's the letter of the law. But I can't move past that clip. I can't move past that audio clip. And that's not me. That's people saying that. So, and that's the problem Man United have got, I think. I think Manchester United are fully aware that because evidence was put... Look, there are other footballers that have been arrested. Do we know the evidence? I think there was one who was doing a few tweets in relation to one case. But no, you don't really know until it's in court. But with this, that got put out there. Trial by public before it was even trial by courts. And now it is trial by public because it's it's court of public opinion. I know, like Gary Neville liked something from an ex-CPS prosecutor who said innocent until proven guilty, and he got absolutely panned for it because people were like, "Have you not heard the audio clip?" And this is the thing: in the court of law, which is something most of us are aware of, and I spent a lot of time working in, you are innocent until proven guilty in law. That is the rule. But if evidence or something is out there like that, there is the court of public opinion, and that's why at the time a lot of people in the profession were like, that is outrageous that even came out. That never should have come out. Why did that come out? And the rights and wrongs of that are not here to be discussed, but it came out, and a lot of people have a problem with it. That's why you've got people on social media saying, get him back in the team for Crystal Palace, and you've got people going at them, angrily going, have you not heard that clip? What would you feel like if that was somebody you cared about? And look, I'm not here to play judge, jury, or anything else. This is what I'm hearing. This is what people are messaging. And then you've got people saying, I don't care, I just want him back in the team. And this is United fans at each other's throats. So then you look at it, Man United aren't stupid. Man United will have someone watching this. Man United will have someone watching social media. They'll be watching your chat and they'll be going, yeah, we've got to tread very carefully here, because if we just make a decision on this one way or the other, let's be fair, let's play devil's advocate. He's back in a United shirt or he's sold or released. You're going to upset large proportions of your fan base. They're in a rock and a hard place and they've got to get it right. They've got to get it right. Ronnie says the problem is that what you hear may not be what is happening. If you think RPE, you hear RPE, says Ronnie. Look, there's two sides to a story, and there's, I think we handled it very well this afternoon. People got upset on both sides, but it was very much a assessment of the situation in a very, desensitized way, basically dealing the facts and looking at what next. We already know what next. Man United are going to run an internal investigation, and I wouldn't dare speculate on what the outcome of that will be. But what I can talk about is, because it's out there publicly now and there is no criminal case, is that if you look around social media, there are probably people in the chat now, there will be people saying, I want to see him back in a United shirt. And then there will be people saying, I can't move past what came out when this all came out. Can't move past that. Sorry, I don't want to see that in a United shirt. I don't want to celebrate that in a United shirt. Maybe time will be a great healer. I do believe in, rehabilitation and all that. I've said that many, many times. Some people don't. I get that. It's all about personal opinion. Time tends to heal all. But at the moment, it's very fresh. And, United, I think, will get this right. I have faith that they will get it right, because whilst I don't trust us in recruitment and I don't trust us in sales and new contracts, I think when it comes to protecting brand Manchester United, the legal side of it, we have got very good people around communication and legal matters. And I think they will get it right. I do. I hope they do. They have to. What player do you think Garnacho will live up to be, says King Pigeon? I think, talk about young players that are talented. I really like Garnacho. Last night I put a tweet out saying Garnacho, wow, in the first half, and then people would quote tweeting it saying he was shit at the end of the game. He did fall off in the second half, but I still think he's a player that he gets me on the edge of the seat, Garnacho. I think he makes things happen, and sometimes he overruns it and it goes for a goal kick. Sometimes he gets his pass or his shot wrong, but every time he gets the ball, I move closer to the edge of my seat and I think, he is one of those players like Martial used to, like Rashford can, and I want Anthony to be like that. I want Sancho to be like that as well. So I'm a big fan of Garnacho, and one thing I would say about United and everything they've been through this year is that I just hope that our current squad take note of how fragile it is playing for Man United. We've just spoken about the Greenwood situation. He had the world at his feet. I called him a generational talent. As a player, he had the world at his feet. And now look at what we're talking about. Cristiano Ronaldo was our player of the year. Player of the year, top scorer in a shit side, and ends up having to do an interview to get out of the club. Never take for granted that you've made it at Manchester United, because, and then we're not even talking about loss of form or injury. You can be riding the wave, and within a few months, you can be at rock bottom. And I just hope young players at United especially take note of what's going on and don't just think, well, that won't happen to me. There's a responsibility to you as a human being to be moral and, follow a certain code. But as a Manchester United player, you're living the dream. You're living the dream, lads. You are living the dream. Don't let it turn into a nightmare because of, bad decisions. Claude, I'm not going to talk about comparatives. We're Manchester United. I couldn't give a shit about Mike Tyson. Are you going to do a Chelsea watch along tomorrow? Says Barry. No, I'm out tomorrow. We were doing a watch along, but I'll be in the pub. I'm going to do Arsenal Everton on Saturday lunchtime, and obviously Man United on Saturday afternoon, and then I'm on TalkSport on Saturday night, so that'll be interesting. A call in on that. I bet they'll block calls on certain topics. What else did I want to talk to you about? Oh, I was going to go back to a little bit Sabitzer, weren't we? So we did this at the start of the show. I like this. So I've already told you how good Sabitzer is defensive. Let's have a look at attacking elements to his game. So let's have a look at, what should we have a look at for... So shots per 90, Kevin De Bruyne is top with 2.4. Gundogan is about 1.9 shots per 90. Odegaard is 1.8 and Sabitzer is 2.1. So Sabitzer has more shots per 90 than Odegaard, even though he's a very, very good defensive player as well. Shots on target, 30%. Odegaard's nearly 40%, and so is De Bruyne. So you would expect that those shots are probably coming in from a lot more. Now, the thing about Sabitzer is he doesn't get many assists. In the last calendar year, he's had 2. Odegaard's had 6. Eriksen's had 11. So he doesn't get that many. He's not had that many assists in the last couple of years. That suggests to me that at Bayern Munich he's been playing more of a withdrawn role. But, you know, I can't honestly say I've watched a lot of Bayern Munich playing in the Bundesliga because I find the Bundesliga very boring because it's such a monopoly. In relation to his passing, I think this is what people will be very interested in. Passes per 90, he's number 3. Eriksen is number 2. Gundogan is number 1. No surprise. As a Man City number 8, you're going to play a lot of passes. So Gundogan averages 60 passes per 90. Eriksen is number 2 with 55 passes per 90. And then you've got Sabitzer, who averages 50 passes per 90 in 3rd place. So still pretty high. Accurate passes, he's actually 3rd again. He averages 86% pass accuracy. Gundogan's number 1 with 90%. And Ward-Prowse is also 86%. Eriksen had 83%. Forward passes per 90, I think, is always an interesting one. Now, Gundogan is behind Sabitzer. Even though he plays more passes, Gundogan is behind Sabitzer for forward passes. So Sabitzer averages 14 passes per 90 forward. Gundogan is 13. Number 1 is actually Eriksen with 17. So Sabitzer would be second behind Eriksen in that. Accuracy with the forward passes, he's got a better accuracy than Eriksen, 74% to 72%. So, look, I could spend all night talking to you about how good Sabitzer is and going through his stats, but the bottom line is, if he transforms what he is in the Bundesliga to this Manchester United side, you've got a very energetic, offensive shooter, passer, carrier of the ball. I wanted to ask you about that. I wanted to talk about that as well. But also defensively, he's very, very good as well. Now, let me just have a look at something here. Okay. He's not really a dribbler of the ball, actually. Eriksen averages more dribbles per 90 than Sabitzer. 1.3 for Eriksen, 0.9 for Sabitzer. Progressive runs per 90, 1.4 for Eriksen, 0.7 for Sabitzer. So maybe that's not something we are going to see. He definitely used to do it for Leipzig, but look, we're only looking at the last year's stats. But it's not something he's done at Bayern much, where he gets the ball and runs with it or dribbles it. Cassif says, blink twice if you think she was given a load of cash to drop. Okay, I'm not blinking twice, and I'm not talking about that. There's a lot of rumours going around, as you know. My star, no, not talk. Shoaib, in fact, I'm going to have to block you. Sorry. I'm blocking you for your own good because I don't like to see people getting trolled and abused in the chat. And if anybody saw that from Shoaib, I apologise for it. Maybe some of you think he's clever. Maybe some of you think he's a dickhead, but yeah, I'm not going to read that out, and I'm not going to give him any time at all. If you're in a country where the 2 players on front of you are homegrown, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're not getting in the team, says Tabasco. Okay. Do you remember the TV show called Bitzer? Every time I hear his name, I think of the theme song. No, Steve. I remember Whizbit. Ha ha, this away, ha ha, that away, ha ha, this away, my oh my. Eriksen is older and prone to dribbling more, says Tank. Look, I can't wait to see Sabitzer in the team. I hope he starts on Saturday. I think at some point you've got to throw him into the team. And to anybody who says that Sabitzer won't start, remember Ten Hag has this tendency to start players that he wants. Anthony went straight in, hardly been training. So it could happen. I wanted to just talk about Rafael Varane. I spoke about Varane this morning. For me, personally, I think he's the best centre-back in the league. I don't understand why he doesn't get the credit he deserves. He's retired from international duty at 29 years of age. I think this is a positive, a very big positive for Manchester United. Like Eamon says, Varane retiring from international football to focus on United is fantastic. I think it's a little bit early at 29 to retire from international duty. I mean, he's the same age as Maguire. Maguire would never retire from England at 29. So, put it like that. Having said that, I do know that United's fitness department and Varane have struggled in the first year. They really struggled to get him fit. He had a few problems and underlying issues. But this year, they've really worked out well. And I think that there's probably been a grown-up possession on this. And the rumour is that when Varane got injured against Chelsea and he was crying on the pitch, basically thinking he'd missed the World Cup, there was a lot of discussions between Varane and United about, look, we'll support you in getting fit and you can go to the World Cup. But, there's got to be trust there then. And there, not that there wasn't. And I think what Varane has done is he's gone, look, I nearly missed the World Cup with an injury. I went to the World Cup. The club supported me with that. It's time for me now to support the club. And I think Varane's looked at what he's done in a French shirt. Probably sees they're going through a bit of transition. Lloris is retired. Pogba, Kante, they're coming towards the end. Benzema as well. Griezmann will be soon. Well, maybe not Griezmann, actually. And I think he's just, he's won a World Cup. Does he need to carry on playing? What's he got to prove at international level? And actually, Paul Scholes did this as well. International football, if you retire, it saves you. You get a longer break in the summer. You get three, maybe 4, 2 weeks off a season. At the end of May, you don't come back until the start of July. I think Varane has made a really intelligent decision on looking after his body and elongating his domestic career. And it's good for United. I mean, of course, the only concern would be, why is he retired at 29? Is there a bit of an issue there that he's basically been told he needs to because of potential injury problems? But if he ends up playing for United like he has done for this season for another 4 years, then we're the winners of that. When the going gets tough, Ollie gets... I used to love that. When the going gets tough, Ten Hag gets rough, says Nathan. I used to love doing that. When the going gets tough, Ollie gets rough. Come on, everybody. We'll sing this at the tour. We'll get everyone singing it. When the going gets tough, Ollie gets rough. Come on, everyone at the back. Going gets tough, Ollie gets rough. Yeah, we'll do that, definitely. What was the other one? Give him time. We're back in 1989. Oh God, those days were depressing. Those days, there just wasn't a light at the end of the tunnel, was there? You were like, we've got crap owners, the board ain't that good, and as much as we loved him, Ollie just wasn't up to it either, was he? And then you've got, McFred standing in front of Magaluf with 2 fullbacks stuck in, and we're just trying to play counter-attacking football. It makes you appreciate these times even more. Levin says, coming over to Manchester for the second leg against Barca. Would love to grab a drink at a pub. Super nervous and excited. Can't wait to see my home, the Theatre of Dreams. Levin, that is going to be a cracking game. Give it time. Yeah, no, that'll be a cracking game for you, Levin. I hope you really enjoy it. Anyway, look, tonight's show has been fantastic. It's been nice to talk about football. This is the thing. You wake up and you go, the transfer window's closed. We're into the final of the Carabao Cup. Got a game on Saturday. Maybe a bit of a chill day, just to have a look at the team and how Sabitzer might fit in, and then boom, massive news that we've all got to have a chat about. So it's been an emotional day, as Anthony says today. It has been an emotional day, and I know what I'm about to say will fall on deaf ears, because I know that the fan base is ridiculously divided on a very, very, very non-football emotive thing, and I can't say things that are going to make people agree on this, because I've seen the arguments in the chat. I've seen the arguments on social media. All I would say is that we all support the same football club, but we're all very different. I learnt this a long time ago. When I came into this space, I was conflicted, because there were some United fans who support the club that I support who were just vile. And I was like, but then there's some Liverpool fans, I don't even like Liverpool, who are actually being quite supportive. And then I realised, just because we all support the same football club doesn't mean we have to get on or like each other. There are vile people in every country. There are vile people in every club. There are vile people in every fan base. There are vile people in every political party. Things reflect society. So yeah, we are all United fans, but we're quite clearly not going to all get on, are we? There's not a lot I can say about that. I just would wish that people would be sensitive and respectful of the fact that as to why people have different opinions to you. But look, humans have been on this planet for a long time, and there's been plenty of disagreements and wars, hasn't there? So I don't think the human race is ready for sensitivity and understanding when they feel strongly about something. But look, all I can say is thank you very much to this community. You are legends, even if I disagree with you strongly on some of these things. And I hope you have a good, safe evening. Thank you everyone for watching. Apologies for the twats in the chat. They're everywhere. I feel sorry for them because they have sad little lives, really, and they're trying to troll you because it's the only kick they can get. Just imagine how shit their life is that they have to do stuff like that. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. I think we've got an Eric Ten Hag press conference tomorrow, so that's going to be very interesting, isn't it? Speak to you all in a bit. Take care.